Andrea, and this week I have a real special announcement. I've got a free webinar coming up. You guys love listening to the podcast. How about some free teaching online? It's happening April 11th at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. It's called 9 Practical Tips for Finishing the Year Strong on Social Media. Okay. April and May can get really crazy, but there's a lot to celebrate. So I'm going to really break it down, some to-do lists, including taking care of yourself, celebrating events, staying consistent. We're even going to talk about maybe what you should or shouldn't put on social media. I'm going to give you some strategies for covering events. And you guys, I've got a really big announcement that I'm sharing at that April 11th event. And you got a chance to win some prizes. Yeah, I'm giving away stuff. So you're going to want to sign up. The link is in the show notes. Get signed up right now and let all of your school PR friends know about this. It's really going to help you finish the year strong. Again, the webinar is happening live on April 11th. If you can't join live, only those that sign up get the recording. Okay. So only if you sign up do you get the recording. It's going to be incredible. You're going to walk away with tips that you can use right away to help you really make the most of the end of this school year. So again, 9 practical tips for finishing the year strong on social media. Join me and get signed up today. And now on to this week's episode. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so fired up for you to meet today's guest, Les Atkins. He is doing amazing things. Plus, he once worked with Dolly Parton, you guys. So you're not going to want to miss his number one lesson that he learned from Dolly and her crew that he still carries with him today. He's been in school PR for 11 years. He's been in radio and television, and he now works in North Carolina. He's going to share how they do social media at their school with 38 schools, really 2 people in their communications department, plus a translator. So very not a big team, but you guys, you got to check out all their social media channels. We have a ton of links in today's show notes with story ideas that Les and his team have done, and it's amazing. He's really going to talk about what they've been doing to try to retain teachers and attract teachers to their school district, and a real cool feature they're doing there. They're also leaning into video with a Difference Makers series that he tries to do twice a month, which just won an award from his state chapter, NC-SPRA. And then he's going to break down like the exact tools that he uses to create the videos, and you are not going to want to miss it because again, we have links to the show in the show notes of the equipment he uses. What I love is that Les is willing to try things, and his district page looks great, and he is getting great traction and engagement because he's trying new things. And you guys, he gets free ideas from my newsletter every other week, and he just jumps in with both feet and tries it. If you are not on my newsletter yet, you need to head on over to socialschool4edu.com. That's the number 4, socialschool4edu.com, or hit the show notes, sign up for my newsletter, grab onto those great tips that we share. And we've got another K-12 PR tip as we begin every episode. So let's get to that quick. All right, today's little K-12 PR tip is using a really awesome free resource that you can use to improve your social media. And that free resource is my website, socialschool4edu.com. You guys, we have over 150 podcast episodes. We have over 400 blogs that are there, and you can search for free on any topic that you are looking for. You're looking for information on Instagram Reels, or, growing your engagement. Maybe you're looking for information on Facebook Business Manager, or you're trying to get students involved in storytelling in your schools. We've got interviews and blogs that are there to help you. Head over to my website, socialschool4edu.com, and go to the blog tab. Once you're at the blog tab, over on the right-hand side, you're going to be able to type in the search bar and search any topic that you're looking for, okay? If you're on your mobile device, you're going to click the menu bar and get to the blog, and that search bar is going to be towards the bottom. So you're going to have to scroll by about the first 6 blogs, and then you're going to get to the search bar. You guys, I just want you to know how to use this free tool. Although I am combining all of my great resources that I've been sharing since 2014 in my first book that's coming out soon. So if you want to make sure you know when that's going to be available, make sure that you're signed up for my newsletter. And you can also check it out at socialschoolforedu.com/book. Awesome. You want to meet Les Atkins. I don't want to further delay. So let's get to this week's interview. Good morning. Les Atkins is in the house. How are you today?
Good morning. Doing great.
North Carolina, a little bit warmer there than here in Wisconsin, but it's great to be connected virtually. We've gotten to meet in person a couple times, Les, and I would love for you to share your background and your role as public information officer there at Alamance-Burlington school system.
Well, I've had an amazing career, I have to say. I started in radio, television. I was a news reporter, anchor for 14 years. I worked with the Partons for a while, as in Dolly Parton, doing public relations and marketing.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, hang on. Did you know, Les, that I wanted to be Dolly Parton when I grew up when I was 2 years old?
No way.
Yeah, like my dad has me on the old little tape recorder because of course we didn't even have like VHS or beta
Yeah.
or whatever back in 1980. But I wanted to be Dolly Parton, but Les, it didn't work out in so many ways for me. But that is so cool that you actually worked for Dolly Parton. That's awesome.
Here we are. Yeah, I worked for a Brothers Music Theater in North Carolina. It was an incredible experience being in show business and the music industry. It taught me so much. And I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But switched over to school PR, and I've been doing that now for almost 11 years. And I've been here at Alamance-Burlington school system in North Carolina since July of last year. So soon to be a year.
Okay. So after the pandemic had started, but
Yes.
you've been in school PR for 11 years.
All through the pandemic. One of the things that I will tell you that I learned from Dolly was, or really from her whole team, really,
Right?
that I still, it holds true to this day. And that is, I remember, and I'm telling my age now, I took some photos. We had a groundbreaking ceremony, and I took some photos of Dolly and her brother and the family, Stella, and I put them on a CD, and I just put photos and put the date, and I handed it to one of her managers. And he said, look, he said, I really appreciate what you did here, but if you don't have time for excellence, don't bother. And I was like, okay. And he said, we do everything with excellence. Little things are big things, and we do everything with excellence. You have a label, you have a printer, you have a computer. And that really stuck with me because excellence matters. And I think that, like, if we don't have time to do it right, just don't do it, right?
Right.
um,
Yeah.
and I've learned that from you as well, as I've watched your blog and listened to your podcast. But I just think that's just it's just really stuck with me.
Yeah. And you've had a very successful career. So that's awesome. I love that piece of advice. So tell me a little bit more about your school district that you're in, like the size and your communications department and all of that.
So we have 38 schools. We'll be bringing on a new school in August, 23,000 students, about 3,500 staff. My team here is me, and we have a digital media coordinator here. He's full-time, top-notch at what he does. He works in the public information office and sort of helps me oversee all of our district channels as well as each school channel. So we have a webmaster at each school, and that's a volunteer position. And we try to meet monthly with them to go over best practices and troubleshooting. And our social media channels are really popular. Partly because we've implemented a lot of your suggestions, I'll say. And I tell the staff here, we're like a 24-hour news operation. We average, looking at analytics, 128,000 plus views on some of our pages a day. So yeah, that's more than the local newspaper here. We're really popular.
That's incredible. So 23,000 students, you've got a digital coordinator and yourself. And then is there anybody else in your communications department?
We have a translator who helps us as well
Okay.
in the department. but for the most part, it's us, and then obviously all the team of people at each school that help us to get the word out and to manage their own individual pages.
Okay, so your webmaster, that's a volunteer position, is doing the website and social media for the schools. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you try to get together with them monthly to kind
Monthly.
of talk through and give ideas. And is that virtual or is that in person?
That's virtual.
Okay.
And we use the Apogee platform.
Okay.
So we're able to also go in and support them and do global posting and those kinds of things on our websites. So that does help quite a bit when we have inclement weather or something like that. Like for Black History Month, we pushed out things on all of our district sites, on all of the school sites as well.
Okay. So just before this interview, I was going through your page and we're going to talk a little bit about your video series that you've been doing. But I am really impressed, Les, at your page, especially your district page, knowing that you only have really two of you. I mean, a translator, which I'm sure helps, but that is usually I like to say schools really deserve a communications person per 5,000 students. That's what I've like after talking to, hundreds and hundreds of school PR people. So you guys are very lean and you're knocking it out of the park. And what I love, and we're going to link to all of your social media channels, at least on the district level. But what I love on your district level is you are telling real stories from the schools. It's not just the plain old district information type stuff, which is sometimes what I see when schools your size are running both individual pages for the schools and a district page. The district page just doesn't seem that engaging. Your page really seems engaging. So way to go.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll have to admit, when you give a suggestion, we try it. And I'm just not blowing you up either. I mean, this is true. You suggested the Why I Love My School series. We took it a step further and created Why I Love ABSS. That's our acronym, Alamance-Burlington School System. We started it in February as the month of love because we thought that's a good time to do it. Like, why do you love ABSS? So we sent out a Google form to the entire staff and said, upload a photo of you in your classroom and tell us why you love working here. And I don't know about, you probably know this, nationwide. I mean, we have a teacher shortage here. We started off the year with 100 vacancies, and we're doing everything we can. We live, Alamance is just outside of the Raleigh-Durham market. So we're sandwiched in between a huge school district, Guilford County schools, Orange County schools on both sides of us. So it's very competitive in terms of salary and supplements and all those kinds of things. So we're trying to build a culture here that's a supportive culture. And what better way to show that than show our employees saying, look, I love working here. And our page has grown exponentially as a result of this. Our HR department has put those on their LinkedIn page that they run, and it has really helped with recruitment. It's all the things that have really helped. We found an old box of photos when we were cleaning out our closet from the 80s and 90s here at Central Services. So we started a Throwback Thursday that exploded into parents and grandparents getting on the page going, wait a minute, that's me at that old Apple computer. We even had them guess like which year. We didn't know. We just let them guess, and we don't know the right answer. So
Right. Yeah, that's up to them to decide.
That's up to
the
them.
date.
Y'all decide. But we do post a lot, sometimes 5 and 6 times a day.
Okay. Well, I thank you, Les, for trusting me, because some people don't, with this Wisconsin accent, they're like, does this girl really know what she's talking about? But if you'll just try it, sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised. And sometimes it takes a while or whatever. So we're going to link, I've got your Why I Love Working in ABSS up right now, which you did in the month of February. Do you plan on doing that longer?
Well, like I said, we have 3,500 employees, and I would say a third of them maybe submitted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so this is going to end up going for the rest of the year. We did not
Yes.
realize it would explode. And we also did the month of love, and we highlighted our couples in the district. And surprisingly, we had more couples than we even knew. So that's kind of going to continue a little bit as well, because it was fun.
Yeah.
And people really engaged. And once again, like I saw a principal this weekend, and she said, Les, this has really improved our culture. We want to celebrate our students, but we also want to create a culture that makes people want to work here, and those who work here want to continue to work here. So this has created excitement because they see their friends and they see their coworkers being featured on our page, and so it's really helped.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we're going to link to the features themselves, both the spotlight on the couples and the Why I Love ABSS. Would you be willing to share your form of what the Google form of what you sent out to staff? Because that feedback rate of 33%, basically 30% of your staff responding, is amazing. And it really speaks to the pride and the love your staff does have, and that you're going to be able to carry this throughout the year. And I agree. Listeners, you guys are struggling for staff. I mean, it's a year-round thing. It's not just in the summer that people are changing course. I mean, there's people, leaving, unfortunately, and we need to keep telling that positive story. So this is such a great idea. And then once you have it in the Google form, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You ask them for a picture. You're pretty easily able to put that together in a feature, right?
Yeah, we just dumped it into Canva, created a template. We actually created multiple templates so that they didn't get stale. And we dropped their picture in, put their quote in. We already have our logo in place, and we're ready to go. And we really tried to trickle those out a couple of times a week.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. Good job. And you're going to see a lot of these Throwback Thursdays, all of that when you take a look, especially at your Facebook page. You guys also run Instagram, Twitter. What other channels do you run?
Yes, Instagram and Twitter as well, and our Facebook page.
Okay, awesome. And do you run LinkedIn at all, or does your HR department run LinkedIn?
We actually can manage that. We've sort of let them have the reins of that because they do a lot of job fairs and special job postings, some Feature Friday jobs and those kinds of things. So we've sort of, like, if someone wants to help us, we're more than willing.
Yeah, well, especially when you're relatively short staffed. So awesome. So with your background in news, you really have some great skills, and you've kind of put that towards video. So tell me about your series, The Difference Makers.
Proud to say that we just won an NC SPRA award for that. So
yes,
really excited about that. So I go, once again, I guess my whole theory is we're running a little mini CNN over here, or a mini 24-hour news operation is the way I kind of look at it. And with that background in news, I thought some stories are difficult to tell in a short form, like a reel or something like that, or just in a 30-second clip. So I decided to start this series called Difference Makers. And what it is I go out in the school with my cell phone every other week, and I find a compelling story. I like to say I have a nose for news. So when I'm out in the school, like I might be there for Read Across America or something, and I just start talking to people about first thing then another. What's going on here? What are you doing? And the stories range from, like, I was in the hallway one day and I heard the football coach say, he was pointing to an assistant, and he said, "Hey, don't forget to tell the sign language interpreters that we have practice today." And I said, "Why do you have sign language interpreters at practice?" And he said, "Oh, we have a deaf student on the football team." A deaf student on the football team? How does that work? So we did a feature on him, an amazing student, Jordan McDowell. You can look him up, Williams High School senior, completely deaf. But he does not let that stop him from being a multi-sport athlete. He's also a wrestler, becoming one of the more celebrated students on our campus, and everyone has been inspired by him. The football players themselves are learning sign language to communicate with Jordan on the football field. The interpreters are actually interpreting the plays for him. So it's just like this whole cohesive thing where, like, I mean, what a beautiful story. The football players are doing their thing. The interpreters are doing their thing. Jordan's doing his thing. And we put that all together. I take my cell phone out. I have just a regular iPhone 11. I turn it horizontally, and I shoot the video that way. And I edit it all together in iMovie.
Okay.
And I let them tell the story. I do a brief intro, and you can link to some of these difference maker stories. I do a brief intro. I usually get a student or somebody to record me. And I have a simple $25 mic, a $25 tripod that I bought. So I have $50 in it. And iMovie basically.
This is so awesome. I'm so glad you're like a trained guest, Les, because you come with the details that our listeners want to know. Like, okay, oh, how are you shooting this? Do you have a fancy camera? Do you have a fancy microphone? Okay, do you think you could find the link to the microphone and the tripod that you have?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so we'll put that in the show notes for everybody. So you don't have to have anything fancy. And I just saw one in our membership group they shared. They had a mic that's actually a handheld mic that looks like they're going to start singing, which I love to sing, right? I wanted to be Dolly Parton when I was little.
There you go.
But the kids really liked that, I think, and they really got them kind of really expressing themselves. But I'm sure, is yours just a lapel mic or what is
It's
it?
a lapel mic that I clip on.
Yeah.
Going back to the news days, I try to be all professional with it
Yes.
and not show the mic and that sort of thing. But it's amazing because, as you're out in these schools and you're just talking, people don't know what news is. They don't know what a great story is. And a principal called and she's like, I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but we've collected like 4,000, I forget how many, like 4,000 socks. I said, for what? And she's like, well, it's Socktober is what we're calling it. And we're going to donate all these socks to the homeless. And our kids have been learning about homeless and like what that means. And they've been learning about community and how to be involved. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's my story. Please let me come out. So we did this feature on this group of 30 kids who they got their whole school involved in collecting socks, and they actually took them to the homeless shelter. They had some parents come, and I mean, it just opened the kids' eyes up to like what this whole world is beyond the school walls and beyond their neighborhoods, and taught them empathy and taught them all the things that they need to know. So it's just beautiful stories, and I really love telling those kinds of stories. And then I encourage staff to submit those stories regularly when they can, or let me know, hey, this might make for a good story, and I just keep a list, and that sort of thing.
So you try to do the Difference Maker series like about twice a month, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so it takes a little bit of planning, but it sounds like you really discover these stories when you are kind of out and about. I mean, yes, they may deliver some of those to you, but sometimes it's just having your ear open and being like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." And sometimes your staff doesn't maybe realize that because it's just like another day,
Yeah.
but those are such powerful stories to share, right?
And they don't realize how amazing they are. You you almost have to remind them, like, yes, you are amazing. What you do every single day it's a small thing, but it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And our community loves seeing that, because when you have a little kid, collecting socks for someone who's homeless, I mean, it just melts your heart.
Yeah. Well, and I really I highlighted about a year ago some ideas on finding these stories. And one of my challenges, I told people, okay, go out and find a great story that you're going to report on. And you can certainly do it for video for very low cost, and iMovie. I mean, that's free on your phone or on your desktop. But you can also, if you need to tell it with video or with a photo and a story, that's okay too. So just, but those stories just really relate. They tug on the heartstrings. They show the amazing things that our students are doing, our staff are doing to support those students. It really just tells a lot about your school district in that one story. So I really want to challenge you guys as you're listening to this, whatever you would call it, whatever kind of series you chose, Difference Makers, but whatever you want to call it, and then really try to go out and, twice a month, share something like that, right?
Yeah, I pulled up at a school one day and I saw a group of senior citizens coming with bags of food. And I was like, what are you ladies doing? And they said, oh, every week we collect food in the community. We go around to Food Lions and grocery stores and get like cans that might be dented, or maybe we just find sales on things, and we collect this and like the little soups and the packs of crackers, and we make these little bags for students, and they discreetly put them in their backpack. And so I did a feature on this group of just ladies who meet in the basement of a church every week down the street, and they pack these little food bags, and this is like their whole mission in life. So it's not necessarily always a school story. It's also our community and how that feeds into our schools.
Yeah.
And, they were so proud to be featured on our district, YouTube channel and on our Facebook page, because all their friends saw them. So,
Yeah.
but those kinds of things help us as well, in the community to
Right.
build.
And that age of citizens, they're on Facebook, so they love that,
Yes, they
and they
love
can
it.
share that with their family. Awesome. Oh gosh. So I can't wait to link to some of these stories. And then, like I said, do you put those stories on YouTube as well as uploading them on like Facebook?
Yes, we found that putting the actual video on Facebook works well.
Mhm.
And then we do the link on YouTube of the YouTube link on Twitter,
Yeah.
and then we post them on Instagram as well.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Awesome.
Directly.
Yeah.
And we don't have a way on our website to actually, well, we do, but we don't. But through the platform, the simplest way is to put the YouTube link on our website. So we put the
Okay.
YouTube link. Yes.
Okay. Well, that works well. All right. So we've packed a ton in this, and I'm so excited, Les. This is my favorite part of my job, by the way, is this podcast, because I get to hear so many great ideas, and I'm so excited that our listeners will be listening to these. So we definitely want to find out, if you're listening to this right now and you decide, yes, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start finding these difference maker stories. You make sure you let me know, let Les know. We got his contact information in the show notes, because the more stories like this that we can share in the world, the better this world's going to be. Right. So I'm just really proud of what you've done, and hopefully we can spur it. And I'm really happy that you got recognized with the NC SPRA. I hope you consider submitting it for the NSPRA awards too. Because that's the national one. Yes, you should.
I will
And
say that some local TV stations have picked up the stories as well, and that has prompted them to come and want to do their own story. They did the Jordan McDowell story of the deaf student. So that has helped us as well to gain some traction, because they obviously are always monitoring our pages.
Okay, awesome. And then I think there's just maybe a week or so left to submit to my social media awards. I've got a short form video and a long form video, but Les, you should definitely submit for that. It's totally free to submit. The information is coming out in my newsletter and on my website and all of that, but that's awesome. I love it. So as we kind of wrap up, Les, what would you say is your best social media tip?
I think great photos, making sure students look engaged, compelling photos that put everyone in the best light. We don't post photos that are out of focus. We also want to show equity without necessarily saying we're being equitable, right?
Yeah.
So our district is about 30% Hispanic, 30% Black, and so we want to show that in our photos. And I'm super careful. We check out backgrounds. We check out everything before we post. We don't want to show a student way in the background looking bored in a classroom. I remember early in my career, I posted a photo where a student in the way back of the classroom was crying. And within minutes of posting it, I didn't recognize it. Within minutes of posting it, that parent called that school and said, "Why is my kid crying?" So just being cautious and posting those great photos, making sure students look engaged, looking at facial expressions, making sure everyone looks their best. And I think that's probably my best tip. Great photos equals great engagement.
Yeah. Yeah. Take a lot of photos. You only have to pick the best, and don't be afraid to go with your gut. If you're like, "Ooh, I don't know if I should post this," you really got to tell yourself, like, if I was a parent of that child, would I be proud of this picture or not? And so,
Right.
so you kind of have to use that lens. Well, Les, you are going to have some new fans now. So what is the best way for people to stay connected to you?
Me directly, on
Yes.
Facebook, Les
Okay.
Atkins, LESATKINS. I'm on Twitter, Les Atkins 1. I don't know how I ended up with that, but it's cool. Uh, and then on Instagram, I'm Les Atkins Photo.
All right. We'll make sure to link those so that people can get if they want, could I give them your email address in the show notes?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. It's really long.
Okay.
So yes, I'll put it in the show notes. It's one of
Okay.
those k12.nc.us emails. So
Yeah, that's all good. Well, Les, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Again, the show notes not only are going to have his contact information, but links to some of these series, the Why I Love ABSS, the Spotlight on the Couples, the Difference Maker series. We'll give you a few different examples, and then just the links to their district channels will be there as well, so you can check it out. Be like Les and just try stuff that I suggest or my guests suggest, because they can really work wonders, right, Les?
yeah, absolutely. If it doesn't work, try again.
Yeah, it's failing forward. So I love
Right.
it. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.
Listeners, try out at least one of these little initiatives in your school. I know the school year's wrapping up. There's still time to gain momentum as we get to the end of the year. And we will be back next week with another incredible guest. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye, Les.
Bye.